Hi class. So before we go over today's lesson, I want to go over yesterday's on the back page question one because we're going to be doing this a couple times. So I want to make sure that we've really got it. So suppose we have a card with an APR of 33%. The minimum payment is 9% of the balance. Suppose we have a balance of $322 on our credit card. We decide to stop charging. So this means there are no purchases. Okay, super important. By making the minimum payment each month. Calculate minimum payment each month. Calculate the new balance after the first minimum payment is made, and then calculate the minimum payment that's due next month. Okay, so we've got the formula, APR divided by 12, the amount of months, right? Because it's the annual and we want the monthly interest rate, times balance. This is how we're going to find the finance charge, which is then how we're going to find the new balance because they want the new balance. All right, so balance minus payment plus purchases. All right, so the APR is 33%. That is a decimal is 0.33 divided by 12. Okay, times the balance, which is 322. Now, we need to find out what the payment is because it told us it's 9%, but what is that? We have to find out. Okay, so how we're going to find out the minimum payment is find out what 9% of 322 is. And we're not going to divide, okay? I know you think decimals, we got to divide. Not going to. The only time you divide is if they've got two numbers and they're asking you what percent of blah blah is blah blah. If they want a percent, if they give you a percent, then there's no division required. Okay. If they want a percent, divide. If they don't, if they give you a percent, then you multiply. So we're gonna multiply it by 9% as a decimal, which is 0.09. Okay. We're gonna find out what that is. So 322 times 0.09. We got $28.98. Okay, so that is our payment, our minimum payment, okay? There we go. So 322 minus the payment, which is $28.98. So 0.33 divided by 12, our monthly interest rate is 0.0275. We're going to multiply that by the amount of money in our account, right? Because we've got this amount of money that we owe. We're going to subtract the amount of money that we pay to have the final amount that we owe them. Okay, so we've got 322 minus 28.98. That is 293.02. So that's the amount of money in our balance. Now, they're going to multiply that by the interest to find out how much money they can charge you. All right, so 293 and 2 cents times 0.0275. That is $8.06. We're going to round because we only want two decimal places, so we're rounding up for 8. Okay, so this is the finance charge. Which they didn't even ask us for, but we need it to find our new balance. So our new balance, remember, is this, the amount of money that we have in our account, 293.02, when you get rid of the payments and add on the purchases. And then you're going to add the money that they're going to charge you, the finance charge, $8.06, to find out how much money you still need to pay them. So 293.02 to 93.02 plus $8.06 is $301.08. That's your new balance, right? So that's what they wanted. Now they want your minimum payment that's due next month. Okay, so when we wanted the minimum payment before, we took the balance and we multiplied it by 9% as a decimal. So we're going to do the exact same thing for this new month. So it's $301.08 times 9% as a decimal, which is 0.09. What is that? So our new minimum payment is $27.98. and 10 cents because we're going to round up that 9 and it's going to become 10. Does that make sense? There we go. So that's your new minimum payment. Okay. Now, moving forward, we're going to work on this. I just wanted to make sure that we had that solidified so we can go from here. Okay, so here we go. So I don't even have to do cubes to this. It's already set for me. So the previous balance is $1,000. We make the minimum payment, so we have to calculate that first before we do anything. Purchases, no new purchases. So this is $0. And it's always going to be the same thing. So if you just want to go all the way down, you absolutely can. So we have to calculate the payment, the finance charge, and the new balance. So for month 1, we've got $1,000. Now, the minimum payment is 5% of the balance. Okie dokie. So we just have to find out what 5% of 1,000 is. So that means multiplying it by 5% as a decimal, which is 0.05. Okay? Now remember, it's less than 10%, so there should not be anything here. There should be a 0 here. It's not 0.5 because that would be 50%. This is 5%. So don't forget about that 0 here. There we go. And that is, let's find out what 5% of 1,000 is. So that's 1,000 times 0.05, and we have 50. Okay, so that's our payment. Our payment is $50. And we're going to make that minimum payment because this person always makes a minimum payment. So the way to find the finance charge is APR, same as last time, over 12, the amount of months. Now you're going to multiply that, and you get it, by the balance, which is 1,000, minus the payment, which is $50, plus the purchases, but that's 0. Okay, so we're going to find out what that is. Actually, I'm going to drop a line. So APR is 24%, so we're going to write 0.24 because you have to turn it into a decimal before you can do anything. So we've got 0.24 divided by 12. That's 0.02 times 1,000 minus 50 is 950. All right. So before we add interest, this is the amount of money in your account. Now we're going to find out how much they're going to charge you, and we're going to add that to the amount of money in your account. All right, here we go. So 950 times 0.02 is $19. So that's the extra money they're going to charge you for having money in your account in the first place. All right, so that is the finance charge, is $19. Now, our new balance is going to be $950, the amount of money that we have left over after making your payment and then adding more purchases on top of that, but they didn't make any. Plus the $19 that they charge you for having money left in your balance. If you have a 0 balance, they can't charge you anything, but you have $950 in there. So we're going to add on the 19, and that's going to be $969. Okay. Now, in the future, you're going to have some decimals, so don't think that this is the given. These are nice, clean numbers. It's going to be decimals from here on out. But I just want to do a quick note. The new balance is the previous balance. So here we go. So then this is going to be $969. Now the payment, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to find out what 5% of this is, put it here, subtract it, multiply it by the APR, which is, of course, 0.24 over 12. That's going to be your finance charge. Add it, the balance. You're going to do that 4 times, and then you're going to answer these 4 questions. It's really important that you answer these in order. For how much total money did you pay, you're going to be adding the payments together. Each one of these, you're going to add them. That's the amount of money that you pay. That's the total payments, to make sense. And then how much money did you have, did your balance actually decrease? You're going to take this number and subtract this number. So 1,000 minus what your new balance is, that's how much it decreased by. And then I want you to answer question 3, okay, with these 2 answers in mind. All right, there you go.